doing trade deals. We can talk to you, about foreign policy cooperation. There are lots of things we can now have a proper conversation about. And when President Obama said that the United Kingdom would be at the back of the queue, it was an absolutely disgraceful thing to say. And I hope we're somewhere near the front of your queue, or line, as you normally say.
Yes, well, we were all very excited, stayed up late to celebrate along with you all. What advice can you offer us here in the U.S. in regards to open immigration, as well as secret trade deals? Any advice?
Well, the immigration thing is different because your chief problem, as I see it, is actually illegal immigration, whereas ours, oddly, was legal immigration. Ours was the entire European Union being able to come to our country. But the lessons are the same. Unless your citizens feel that you as a government are in control and have a strategy, then they will become contemptuous of you. So different reasons, but similar result. And this stuff does matter to people. It matters to people hugely.
Okay, and one last question. You bravely led Britain out of the EU. Do you think that Donald Trump could lead that type of resistance here in the U.S.?
That's for you to judge. I don't know the answer to that. I mean, clearly, he has taken on the establishment in Washington and inside his own party, and I'm going to be fascinated to see tomorrow what he's got to say, and kind of how he says it too.
Now, that's about 7.5 minutes of the interview that is over an hour long. In fact, we had 3 different reporters talk to him, all these different angles. This is an in-depth Nigel Farage group of interviews that we'll be doling out in the next few days. Now, coming up, we got a bunch of big guests today. We got Milo, who's been banned on Twitter for criticizing social justice warriors, and more coming up. Let's play part of this report that's up on Infowars.com by Paul Watson that's going viral. The truth about Milo is going to be joining us in studio coming up in 1 hour.
Twitter has slapped a lifetime ban on Milo Yiannopoulos for saying that the new Ghostbusters movie sucked and criticizing one of its lead actors, Leslie Jones. According to Twitter, Milo was banned for, quote, inciting or engaging in the targeted abuse or harassment of others. This was parroted by the New York Times, who said that Jones had suffered, quote, racist and sexist remarks rallied and directed by Mr. Yiannopoulos. Time magazine said Milo was, quote, involved in a campaign of racial harassment. TechCrunch said Milo, quote, urged on a hateful mob. BuzzFeed claimed Milo, quote, incited his followers to bombard Jones with racist and demeaning tweets. Yet there's no evidence for this whatsoever. All these media outlets are brazenly lying. This provably never happened. Milo tweeted that Jones was, quote, barely literate. That's it. That's not harassment. It's a statement of fact. And it isn't proof of Milo inciting a targeted campaign of abuse against Jones. There's no proof whatsoever that Milo incited the targeted abuse or harassment of Leslie Jones, who did engage in the incitement of targeted abuse against another Twitter user. Who could it possibly be? And it was Leslie Jones. She sent out a tweet on Monday inciting her followers to target someone with whom she disagreed.
Bitch, I want to tell you about yourself, but I'm going to let everybody else do it. I'm going to retweet your hate. Get her!
Get her! That's inciting targeted harassment right there. Under Twitter's own rules, Leslie Jones should have her account terminated. She did the precise thing that Milo was wrongly banned for. She openly incited the targeted harassment of another Twitter user, not to mention engaging in routine, casual racism.
But Twitter's a private company. It can refuse service to anyone it likes.
Oh, really? So can Christian bakeries refuse service to gays? Oh, no, that's right. They get fined and shut down.
But that has nothing to do with it. You're talking about discrimination law.
Except that law isn't applied when it comes to Muslim bakeries refusing to bake gay wedding cakes. Just like Twitter's own rules aren't applied to leftists who engage in violent rhetoric or who incite targeted harassment. Do you know how many threats of violence and outright death threats I've personally reported to Twitter only to see nothing happen every time? So while Twitter was wasting its time and resources on censoring a gay conservative who gave a movie a bad review, ISIS supporters were celebrating terrorist attacks. An actual ISIS jihadist was allowed to threaten terror on Twitter for 6 months. And they did nothing. Over the last 2 years, Black Lives Matter supporters have called for killing police officers on a daily basis. Those threats intensified after the murder of 5 cops in Dallas. How did Twitter respond? It gave them their own emoji. So I guess under these new rules, prominent Twitter users with hundreds of thousands of followers are now personally responsible for racist and violent tweets sent by their followers. Does that mean D. Ray McKesson or Sean King will be held personally responsible for the deluge of violent threats and incitements to kill cops tweeted by Black Lives Matter supporters? Does that mean apologists for radical Islam like Glenn Greenwald will be held personally responsible for ISIS propaganda or death threats sent to conservatives by Islamists?
Is Justin Bieber responsible when his fans cut themselves with the hashtag #CutForBieber? Is Beyonce responsible when her fans go after One Directioners with death threats and rape threats? Of course not. It's preposterous to suggest that a public figure, an entertainment personality, or a prominent journalist is responsible for what other people post on the internet.
Does that mean feminists like Anita Sarkeesian or social justice warriors in general will be held personally responsible?
Very, very powerful report, The Truth About Milo. And people say, oh, well, I don't like Milo, or oh, I like Milo. It doesn't matter. The fact that they can permanently ban him off Twitter is dangerous for everybody. Our guest coming in right now as we overlook the RNC. I'm going to be going down through Media Row today and looking at some of the dinosaur media, some of the specimens there. Regardless of what you think of some of the politics of some of the folks we're going to be having on today, like Milo Yiannopoulos. This guy has tens of millions of Twitter followers, or did. He's a successful entrepreneur who happens to be gay. And since he criticized the new Ghostbusters movie as a feminist propaganda being forced down our throats, they, quote, permanently banned him for inciting racial or ethnic hatred. And now they can ban anybody else. And then next, they're going to try to pass all these anti-hate laws, which are meant to only target conservative or libertarian or patriotic speech. These people want to shut down our speech. We have a coup going on at Fox News right now. I was told about this last year and 2 weeks ago. I conferred with Stone. He confirmed, yes, it is a coup made up because Roger Ailes hugged Megyn Kelly 6 years ago and might have squeezed her a little too hard. And so sexual harassment. And so now the Murdochs, who run all their other leftist media, are basically kicking him out to take it over. They've already lost half their ratings in key demographics. Sean Hannity and 30 other hosts and crew are saying they're getting ready to leave. And I talked to other Fox executives yesterday when I was over at the Ritz-Carlton doing a pre-interview with Milo. And I talked to him in the bar area. I was talking to some well-known Fox people. I'll just leave it at that. They confirmed everything I was told by the Fox host I know. So this is a reign of terror against free speech going on, a leftist coup in the few areas of media that are not completely anti-American. So this is getting crazier and crazier. And the answer to this is for everybody to start getting their own local show, running for office, getting aggressive. Normal people don't want to be in power. We just want to live our lives. Well, I'm sorry. Collectivists, globalists, socialists, you name it, they want power. They're taking over. And it's now time to really launch a populist movement against them. That's what you see Donald Trump doing. What you see Nigel Farage, who we just interviewed, breaking down with the Brexit. This is happening. And somebody else who's fighting at the local level is Captain Higgins. I wanted to get this guy on last year when this broke. And then obviously it's hard to get through channels of somebody when the whole media is calling you. But then I ran into some folks that work with him. He's running for Congress. And I said, oh, my gosh, give me that card. Let's get him in studio. Because right when all this cop killing accelerated, and then the cops were like apologizing in liberal areas, we'll do better, and all the rest of this, please don't kill us. This guy came out and said, look, we're just going to kill you. You try to kill us. We're coming after you. And, of course, he then got in political trouble about that. Again, because this is upside-down, bizarro world. So CaptainHiggins.com, I'm not going to go over his whole bio, but remember he was going after the Gremlin gang that was killing people down in Louisiana. Captain Clay Higgins is a lifelong resident of Louisiana. He has served in Arcadia. My eyes are going bad in this bright light. In law enforcement for the last 11 years and currently serves as deputy marshal for the city of Lafayette. Captain Higgins has become one of the nation's most influential cops, regularly speaking to law enforcement agencies across America. And I'm not going to go over all of his bio, but I love seeing folks out there like the Milwaukee sheriff and others and yourself, who just tell it like it is. Good to have you here, sir.
Alex, it's such an honor to be here, man. I can't tell you what a big fan I am of yours. We don't always agree, but we always agree that you are on point, baby. You're the point of the spear, and your thrust is felt across the world. So thank you for having me here. And you're right, man. I was listening to what you're saying. We're certainly, listen, thieves in suits have seized power in Washington, D.C., and in other capitals across the world. The sun does not set on the insidious effort to divide us whereby they can control us. And Alex, you're completely right, partner. I agree with you 100%. American citizens must stand up. We must vote. We must run for office. We must leave our comfort zone. For me, that's a street cop. I've been a street cop for 13 years. I was thrust into the national spotlight, and somehow or another, you know, by the grace of God, I became popular and well-known. But this was not something that I sought, you understand? It's not something that I was looking for in my life. But I'm definitely responding to the call to duty.
Well, there's a vacuum, and men are going to fill it.
Yeah, no doubt. That's right. We're going to, because we're going to stand this country back up, whether the people that have taken it over like it or not. And you know, we have to.
I like how you say that. We're going to stand the country back up.
That's right. We're going to stand this thing back up. And we're going to do it not by politicians, you know, not by the insidious agenda of those with the unbelievable lust for greed and power, but by the patriotic fervor and the bond of our American spirit. That's how we're going to stand this thing back.
I can feel your spirit right here. Used to, I go to RNCs, kind of felt creepy, kind of neocon rhino. I felt a really good spirit in there the last few days. But out on the street with the citizens and the police and everybody together, I really have never felt the spirit of America stronger. It's incredible.
Neither have I. You know, we've been patient, we've been loving, we're forgiving, we're quiet. This is the nature of the conservative. This is the nature of the libertarian. We allow each other our freedoms, and that includes their freedom to oppress us to a certain point. You know, we have reached that point. We passed that point. Our nation is in peril. When I served my country as a military police officer, I swore an oath to the United States Army to defend my nation against all enemies, foreign and domestic. There's no expiration date on that oath, and I continue it to this day, as do you, sir.
Well, I tell you, nobody's perfect, and there's, as they say, bad apples anywhere, but I am blown away. I've got to say 90% of the military is completely awake, and about 80% of the police. People say, well, there's still some bad cops. You know, why are you? Look, we got George Soros and foreign interests trying to cause a civil war on record, targeting local government and police. That is a foreign attack on this country when they attack the police and local government. It's a no-brainer. We've got to back the police now to the hilt. This is a foreign attack.
That's right.
That's not rhetoric.
You're right, brother. We're under attack, but I'm going to tell you something. Those that attack us, listen to me well. This will not end the way you think it will. Because my brothers and sisters of the thin blue line will not waver from our loyalty and our service to the Constitution that we're sworn to uphold, and to the citizens that will give our last blood.
You just said it. They want you to stand down and let them take over.
That's right. That's not happening, baby. You know, from sea to shining sea.
Why have they miscalculated? It's so clear to me that it's going to blow up in their face.
Because they're idiots. This is why they've proven that they're idiots. They continue to underestimate the common man because they consider us uneducated. They consider us not their equal. They're very erudite, you know, and their level of unbelievable destruction for our country, their intent to destroy our country, completely overlooks our superior intent to defend and uphold our country. Because they think they're better than we are, but they're not.
And the sleeping giant never wakes up until it's under attack.
That's right.
You're right, though. They are so arrogant. I ran into Charlie Rose, the big Bilderberg group member, and he was evil. I mean, when I was talking to him last night, his eyes were like snake eyes. We haven't aired that yet. And these people really think they're better than us. But you know what? I wish they were still arrogant. They're starting to realize that America's waking up. I think they're concerned now.
Yeah, they should be concerned because, listen, the Constitution serves us all, Alex. You know that. And we have learned and grown as a nation and come together through all types of horrors, some horrors of our own creation. But by the bond of our American spirit, we have always united in times of crisis, and this is certainly one. We face a crisis, the level of which I don't believe we have faced as a nation.
Yeah, I've never felt the American spirit this strong in this city. It's unbelievable. I mean, I've been very emotional the last few days because it's strong. But I think that's because the country's about to really get challenged. We know they've brought in a bunch of ISIS teams. We know they're being protected. And I just want Obama and the globalists to know when these people start hitting us even harder, you're going to get the blame. They're crazy. How do they think they're not going to get away with this? It's crazy.
Well, again, they continue to underestimate the power and the love of the American people and the spirit that